always give you an idea of how good a school is. I mean, because you really need to know where your fit is for your target. And if you're not sure, then you can email me and I'll be as honest as I can, with the understanding that that's why you need a range, because not everything is known at this point. But understanding that Division I takes a certain level of raw athleticism and ability, along with a whole bunch of other things. And so we have a few yeses, definites maybe, and then we've got some maybes, and then we've got some no's. And that's just the way it is on every extreme team. And let me tell you, we are a 1/3 top, typically D1 team. And many people will make the mistake of targeting D1 when they should be targeting D2 and D3. So, and I get the rub that comes in there is that the problem with not playing a D1 school and playing a D3 school is that D3 schools are small. And a lot of kids want to go to big schools. So, but again, keep an open mind, because if you think you want to go to a big school as a freshman, just remember you are a freshman. So you just started high school. So keep an open mind and understand the parameters of Division I, II, and III in that way. Division II now has 110, 20 schools. I wrote it down earlier. 115, something like that. And Division III has 300. So the great thing about sports is that they can help you get into the school that you maybe not gotten into otherwise. And so that being said, it's very tricky. You're trying to match lacrosse, academics, size, location, all of that. It's not easy to do. So that's why we spend some extra time thinking about it, because if you really want to have a good college experience outcome or chance at it, then with matching lacrosse, then it takes some work. And the reality is, and again, at the end, and certainly with Division II, but even Division III, is if you don't go through this process and market yourself in this way, because you're competing with thousands of other student athletes for those spots, then your chances will be more limited to get one of those spots, wherever it may be. And in terms of money, I mean, there's money in Division III. I mean, Alex can speak to that. It certainly varies by school in terms of what they can steer your way, help you with grants or this or that. There is money there. It just doesn't come in the form of an athletic scholarship like it does in Division I. And then Division II does have athletic scholarships, just fewer dollar amount than Division I. I think we're done with all that stuff. Okay, yeah, we're doing well. So here's where we are, and then think of any questions, and then I'm hoping that maybe around 7:30 I can get the girls on and we can talk a little bit more about the more interesting parts maybe. So what do you do now, right? You have your list, right? And you have your profile somewhere, hopefully on Connect Lax, or you're doing it old school just by YouTube and whatever. Just get it on Connect Lax. It's well worth the $10 a month. So you now have to send emails now, like before the summer season, like now, hopefully now, no later than now, soon. And then you have to try to, so what are you going to say in that email? And Alex could probably speak to this. I'll give you a quick thing and then Alex could jump in. You have to introduce yourself and express your interest in the school and say, here's my stuff, meaning here's my Connect Lax where I've got my profile, and go on Connect Lax and look at all the profiles and look at what people do. That's how you figure out what looks good and what works. And so here's my videos, here's my schedule, here's all my info. But you have to also tell them why you're interested in the school. And some people just do mass emails with, hey, coach, here's my stuff. I'm interested. Hope you get to see me play. And that might work too. But the more you can say why you want to go there, what you like about it, and why it's a fit for you. And I know when you're in 40 schools, I mean, at least for your target schools, put a little more work into it if you can. Alex, can you type out? So Alex is on the coach side, and she gets lots of emails, lots of like, oh, and so by the way, when you email a coach from Connect Lax or wherever, just put your name and your, so Susie Smith, 2023 attacker, all right? Name, graduating year, position, and then you put your email. Alex, would you talk a little bit about what's good and bad about those emails?
Yeah, I mean, the best emails are, just like Mark said, personal. So making sure you're putting dear or hi coach blank, making sure they put their name. And a lot of the girls that I've been getting emails from recently have been, writing emails to both like the head coach and all the assistants, which is always nice, but you don't have to. If it's just the head coach is fine. But as much detail as you can, not only your schedule, obviously your penny number, your position, maybe a little bit about yourself academically, especially if it's Division 3. We're more concerned, about academics because it's supposed to be the whole picture, not just a focus on athletics. So if Division 3 is your target area, then you want to add that as well, especially like your GPA, extracurriculars that you're involved in, why you're interested in the school, not only for lacrosse, and it doesn't hurt for Division 1 as well, depending on where you're going to go. But just as much detail and being as personable as you can. It's easy to tell when the players don't write the emails, the parents do. So making sure you can do it together, that's nothing wrong with that, but making sure that you're doing it yourself and you're taking on that responsibility.
Yeah, and don't. So, and parents, like in girls, be yourself. Like Alex said, I mean, do it correctly, but they want to hear from you, and so speak in your language. I mean, if a parent writes it and it's written like the way I would write an email in a professional way, then Alex gets that and says, well, then obviously the parent wrote it. So they really, they want to know that the kids are vested in it. I mean, the thing that they want to see is motivation, right? I mean, they want an athlete, whether, I don't care what division it is or what team it is, they want to see somebody that's motivated and that's motivated to play and do well on the field and in the classroom. And so then you want to just, as a student athlete for our girls, you want to prove to that coach that you are in it, right? So it takes time, and it's going to be busy, because the best way for you to get a feel for a school is to get on campus. And so now that we're hopefully post-COVID, all that stuff where we couldn't play in front of coaches, outside of club tournaments, I mean, showcases are good, blah, 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 blah. But the best thing still remain club tournaments. And the number one best thing to do to be seen is to go to a clinic at the school that you're interested in. Not one where there's 25, 50 schools there, or, this or that. Those tend to be money grabs, more or less. I mean, there's some good ones now that the coaches are doing in smaller groups with 8 or 10 coaches, and those are good if that 8 or 10 schools, if most of them are in your target. I mean, Triple H had one. I think I sent. I don't know if I sent out some of you, but it was $500 for a day or something. It might have been 2 days, but I mean, and it was awesome schools, but they were all. It was Duke and Northwestern, and I mean, this isn't the time to spend $500 to make your game better. That's to be seen by coaches, right? And so, yes, there's some of those, but go to the $70, $80 a day clinics. I don't know what they cost anymore, but they're not that expensive, that schools offer on their campus. And there will be a lot of those in the fall. And there's a lot of them this summer. There's more this summer than ever because of the year that we just came off of. I've got a zillion emails from every college about, here's our summer camp dates. So in summer camp, sometimes can be longer, 1 or 2 or 3 days, whatever. But in the fall, for you field hockey, soccer players, and particularly for you 23s, you will have, depending on your path and blah, 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 you will want to hopefully have time to go to those prospect day clinics at schools. I mean, Alex will tell you, because LVC, I mean, obviously they're going to recruit with the kids that come there, because those kids that are going to go there are saying, yeah, I'm interested in this school. I took the time to come here for the day. Right, Alex?
Right. And those are the ones that you want. I mean, on all 3 of the divisions, you want to go to the school clinic, and it's just them. And, because keep in mind, you could go to that clinic that has all, 5, 10 of the top schools or whatever it is. You might be really interested in some of them, but you don't know if you're getting their head coach or you're getting their 4th assistant, who isn't really there to recruit. They're just there to say that, Loyola was at the clinic. So just keep that in mind, like Mark said, for those.
Yeah. So that gives you a pretty good overview. That's about all I wanted to that I really wanted to go over in terms of the process part. So if any of you have questions on that while I'm wrapping up that part, think of those. Girls, you can please chime in, and especially when we have the players on. Girls, think of some questions you'd like to ask them.
I have a quick question for you, Mark, and for everybody so that everyone can get an answer. Since this year is big, especially for 23s, and as players go and try and get to as many clinics as possible, which I understand, how do you want to handle the whole practice?
Oh, yeah, awesome.
Situation
yeah.
for that?
Great question, Alex. Yeah, so the policy is that you can, once you get into the high school ages, that you can't miss a tournament for anything in terms of a prospect day. You're being there and the commitment, and the reason why I sent that email earlier about in these years, you need to make the commitment to getting to every tournament, because if you miss a player or two, it impacts all of your teammates and how they play and how well they do in front of coaches. So first priority is extreme games. Okay. Next priority would be a legitimate, like, not like I'm going to what, I don't know, but if you are going to a prospect clinic at a school that you are interested in, then that takes priority over a practice at this point. So it's just the way it has to be. In the fall, we don't have as many conflicts because that's why we typically practice late on Sundays in the fall, because Saturdays are loaded with clinics and Sunday mornings. So we try to manage it as best we can, but tournaments you have to be at. Okay. Parents, any questions on anything in terms of the list, the target list, the process, anything that you're thinking of?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, Carissa.
So can you go over like the difference in like the time commitment between D1, D2, and D3?
Okay, so when you say time commitment in terms of when you're there playing?
Yeah, like while you're there, like in practice times, like how much it'll take up.
Yeah, there's a huge difference in that between Division I and Division III, and Division II again falls somewhere in the middle. Division I is your life. So if you don't live and love lacrosse and want to really challenge yourself and love the competition, and in the end, it's an awesome thing. And that's why I have Devin and Megan and Skylar and Alex here to talk to a lot about that. But in terms of the time commitment, it's a lot. So in the fall for D1, usually they give you I think they give you like a week with nothing, and then they do small like groups of 3 only for a week or so you can get acclimated, but then it's full on. I mean, I know Megan my daughter got up at 4:30 or whatever. She can tell you. They'll go through all that stuff. So in D3, Alex, you talk to what a D3 fall would be schedule-wise.
Yeah, D3, there's a lot of variation. It depends on the school, it depends on the coach, it depends on how successful the team is. If you're looking at a York, which is like a top 25 team with Jen Mustin, you're looking at it being run closer to what a D2, D1 level is going to be, because Jen Mustin played Division I college and she knows what it takes to build a good program. That's why her program is so successful. If you go to a lower level Division III school, you're really looking at, more focus on your academics, and there's not as much of a time commitment. You might have lift maybe twice a week. You don't know, because a lot of D3 schools, don't have the same facilities as Division I. So they might not have a athlete only lifting space, or it might be shared with the entire campus. So that really depends, because there's such a broad range in D3, but it's definitely not as much of a time commitment. They still lift. Some programs do separate conditioning. Some programs build conditioning into practice. It all depends. So it's really dependent on the level of D3 that you're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, like everything else, D3 has become more and more of a commitment, and it does vary a lot. And it's in the same way that it varies in terms of how aggressive they are and how soon they look at you in terms of time frame. So hopefully, Chris, that helps. I have Devin Schneider on here, and Devin can talk, and Meg. So is Megan on yet?
Hi.
Hi, Meg. So I have my daughter Megan, who graduated from Township in what year? You got 2012.
2012.
2012, and played at Temple. And then I have Devin Schneider, her teammate at Township in 2012, and played at Florida. So those girls are now 11 and 12 years older than you all are, 23s and 24s. And then I have Skylar Dorenkamp. Sky, say hello.
Hi.
Sky just graduated from St. Joe's.
Yeah.
She's a 2017 grad from Township. So she's only 6 and 7 years older than you all. So, Dev, you can talk a little bit about. So, Devin played at Florida, a very, very elite D1 program, and so she can tell you about. And Megan and Skylar too would back it up. They all work just as hard. But Dev, if you want to talk a little bit about what your fall was like and how much time commitment, and Sky and Meg, feel free to chime in. Dev, I think can't hear you. Meg, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here. I thought Devin texted me and said she was in.
She was in, but I just couldn't hear. Can anybody else hear Devin when she was talking? All right, well, Megan, you're on. You're on. This is my daughter, Megan, by the way. So this is the best part about lacrosse. Two great things about lacrosse. Megan and Skylar are about the same height, coming in at about a solid 5'3". And Devin's a lot taller. Taller than anybody on this right now. So, but the best part is that Megan and Devin were, high school teammates, and they established a great bond. And now Megan's getting married in a week and a half, and Devin is her maid of honor.
Okay. People don't want to hear about me.
No, it's a great thing. So the girls should understand that teammates are super important. It's a great thing. Megan, talk about your amount of work in a fall, or what was your fall like at Temple?
So it's basically every day you have like one off day, but you're getting up like early morning, like 5, 6 to lift, going to class, and then you have practice afterwards. You have study hall hours that you have to get in, or at least I did. And then like traveling and games on the weekend. So it's every day pretty much. Devin, I see you.
Deb, are you on?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, I connected with my phone. So probably to summarize exactly what Megan just said, but the D1 commitment, like at Florida, was pretty much I went to school for lacrosse. So I say that lightly. I mean, we still obviously I had a different experience. Like my classes were scheduled for me through my academic advisor. He did all the scheduling for me. We obviously game planned what I wanted to do. I was the sports management major. So we would write down what I would do. He would plan it all, and it always went around my practice schedule. So Megan had it a little bit different because I know they actually had to sit by their computer, and they had to actually schedule their classes themselves, where I didn't have to. But really, like my day in the life of, let's just say, in season was get up. We lifted 2 times a week, so probably wake up at 6 a.m., lift right in the morning, go to class, end class, go to the field, get taped, any like ice bath, anything like that prior to practice. We would practice for 3 hours, and then you would shoot around afterward just to get your extra reps in. And then we'd probably be home to do like tutoring or home at like 7 o'clock at night, and we would do it all over again. So a lot of commitment. In season, you probably get 1 day off a week, where that would be your rest day, but that's really it. And then out of season, same thing, except for a smaller group. So like 3 times a week, you would have an individual with your coach, and then you'd also have fall ball. So really you have a mini season outside of your season, because there's a whole fall ball season where you do practices, you go to tournaments. So really you just do your real season and then a mini season. So not that much time.
Yeah, exactly. So you get the idea there. It's huge time commitment. There's some real benefits to that, and it's hard, and you have to know whether that's for you or not for you, right? And but I can tell you, and Skylar and Alex can talk this to these four all played Division One, and so they came out of it with some huge pluses in terms of time management and work ethic and a lot of those really good things. So don't let it scare you off. It's good to be challenged too. And then academically, and Alex and Skylar, maybe you can talk about this. There are many pluses that will help you academically from that type of schedule, because it will make you, you won't be able to procrastinate. And maybe you guys can speak to what support is there, on the athlete side academically too, Skylar or Alex. And what your major was. I mean, the other thing you'll have to consider is majors, and that's Megan was an education major, and that meant that she had to do her student teaching after her fourth year because she couldn't take a whole semester off to student teach. She had teammates that were nursing majors, and that they have clinicals, and that can be difficult. I don't know, Skylar, what was your major?
So I was food marketing. I always say it's just like marketing. But I know a lot with like playing Division I sports. It really helped you with interviews and jobs and everything, because employers love that in people that they're hiring. And like Pinkerton was saying, it helps you learn a lot with like time management. Like that was always something that I always wanted to highlight in interviews. And they always know that like student athletes have great work ethic. And I think those are one of the plus sides that kind of like goes along with being a Division I athlete. And then even like the social part, like you make lifelong friends. Like I have met some of my best friends from playing a Division I sport, because you're with them 24/7. But it is definitely a lot of hard work, but I really think it's worth it, and it's something that's really fun to say that you did.
Yeah, I was gonna say Devin made it sound really scary, and like it is, but you're with your best friends doing it, so like you're getting up with your team at 5 a.m. You're traveling with them, like you're going through the ups and downs with them. So like it's hard, but you're with like such a core group of girls, and they all know what it feels like. So like it's worth it. And like you make, like Skylar said, like you make lifelong. Sorry, got a package. You make lifelong friends through it. Like I am so close with all of my friends, because like it was like the hardest 4 years of my life, but you get through it together, and it's a lot of fun. Like you do have time for social things, and you have time for like events and things on the weekend, and it's nice because like your friends all have the same schedule as you, so like it doesn't feel like you're missing out on like a lot of things, because you're friends with your team and they have the same schedule as you. So I feel like Devin made it sound scary, but it's manageable.
Yeah, I didn't scare everyone there, but yeah, I was just giving you kind of the rundown. I mean, here's the thing. Division I is a commitment, like hands down, okay? Like, no, everyone will tell you that. It's a commitment, but it's going to be like the best commitment you've ever made, because of the fact that what everyone's saying. Plus, if you guys thinking for a future for like parents, the networking that you can do throughout your college, and like they're saying, how you can get jobs super easily just by being an athlete. I know in my job currently, when I'm in the interview, I interview people to be on, to kind of like come into our teams. And the biggest thing is, if they're an athlete, they pretty much get hired right away, because you have a good work ethic, you know how to work hard, you've overcome challenges within your 4 years, they know who you are as a person. So like it is super rewarding. I don't mean to scare everyone.
I think also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Before I lose my train of thought there, Sky, and hold on to yours. So I think that's really a great two parts of that side of it to look at, though. It is hard and it can be tough, but yet it's super rewarding. And so just things to consider, but also we're talking to Division I girls, but understand everything they're saying. Notice how they're saying athlete in terms of the experience you get with your team, having your team D3, D1, you've got an instant group of friends. you have the same experience, and you are, as you come out of college, the same benefit of being a college athlete that implies to prospective employers. So that is not just a Division I thing. That's why it's super cool, I think, for you all to find the right place for you to play, and those benefits are there regardless. The time is going to be more of a commitment in Division I. And so go ahead, Sky. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna add on to that. It's kind of nice. As something that I've found nice about playing a sport at school is it keeps you on a schedule, which really helps. I don't know if anyone's like that, but any division you play, I feel like that's with any sport. It's nice because you have a set time where you need to do something. So you'll just have that for your whole entire life with anything you do.
For sure. Alex, do you want to? So Alex has a unique perspective because she played Division I and now she's a Division III coach. So she's got a good look at both parts.
Yeah, I think it all depends obviously on the player and the commitment you're willing to make. I mean, I personally love the Division I experience, and I absolutely, looking back at myself as an extreme player, if I would have chosen Division I still, I absolutely would. Like Skylar said, I loved being on a schedule, and it is a commitment, but you have your schedule and you just do it. Like, you know exactly where you're supposed to be. You're always around your teammates. They're your closest friends. So you all go together. You keep each other accountable, as athletically, but then academically, you got your assistant coaches keeping an eye on your grades. So, everything is kind of like you're set up for success, basically, if you do all the things you're supposed to. And then Division III, coaching Division III, it was a big change for my mindset when I first started coaching at LVC, because coming right out of a Division I program, I had a lot of high expectations. And then Division III, it's just a different perspective. It's a different experience. They have a lot more of a emphasis on the academic piece. As a Division I athlete, I was focused on lacrosse. That's what I love. That's what I was there to do. That was the majority of my day, like Devin said. But I also got my degree, and looking back at it now, like, the degree is the most important thing, and that's what they really try and emphasize in Division III, is that you're there to earn your degree and look at life after lacrosse. So again, it's just what you're willing to commit to and what works best for you.
Absolutely. So, a lot to think about. I wanted to keep this to an hour, and we're doing great. So maybe a little bit of hopefully some questions from the girls or parents. Or anything else that you think, well, how about quickly from any of you ex-players about what you think is important when you're a high school player of their age, you're a freshman, you're a sophomore, like how many goals you score, is that important? Or what do you think made you a player that got you through college or into college? And just quickly, any little pointers for the girls?
I have one big pointer. This is something that you guys all of you out there need to listen to. Coaches look at you at all times. So with that being said, when you guys are playing, your interactions with your teammates, how you come off the field, how you shoot the ball, let's say you didn't score, your mannerisms, they are not just looking at how you perform on the field. They're looking at all of the interactions. So when you're being recruited, they actually want to make sure that you're going to fit into the system that they have on their team. The way their culture is, the way how you interact with your teammates, would it be something that they would be able to utilize in their team? So it's really important when you guys are playing and you're with your teammates, make sure that you are always presenting yourself at the best of your ability, okay? So I know that sounds crazy, but if you are going, like say I was getting recruited at Florida, if I stood on the sidelines with my hands on my hips, like looking really upset or mad that I'm not playing at that time, not cheering on my teammates, that's going to show the coaches on the sideline, like, I don't know if I'm going to want that player. Is she a team player? It doesn't matter how good you are. At the end of the day, if you do not fit into the system of the team that you're getting recruited from, they're not going to recruit you.
100% true.
going off of that is just being a coachable player. It ties right into what Devin was saying. And coaches respond, especially like myself coaching, all levels, coaches respond to like positive, motivated players. If you're energized all the time, you are responsive when they give you feedback, like that gets coaches excited to coach that player, and you're going to be more likely to fit into that like scheme and that team culture because you're going to add to it. You're not going to take away from it.
They also recruit parents to don't be the crazy one yelling over there. We don't have any problems with that. So they do. I mean, it's all important. We did when Megan and Devin were playing back in the early days of Extreme. I mean, we would like if coaches, they would throw the ball around on the sideline. They want to know that you like being there and you enjoy the environment. And I think what Alex said is huge. I mean, positive energy is very important. So put your best foot forward when they're around and try to be that person. And if you're not, you have to gauge again how much lacrosse means to you. And so certainly if you're like, well, I don't want to commit that much time Division I, then cool, then Division III, and then talk to those coaches along the way. What's your fall schedule like? Those are the questions you can ask them to get a feel for. Always remember too that, I've never had a kid come back from a visit once you start visiting or talking to coaches, or whether it's on the phone or face to face. And I've never had a kid come back and say, well, that coach was so mean. Mean coaches are going to present themselves as very nice coaches. So they're going to put their best foot forward when they recruit you. They're going to show you their best side and then show off their school. And so you have to do the same thing too.
Take it in to go off of that too. When you're going on your visit, make sure you fall in love with the school, not just the coach that you're playing for. I think it's really important. Like you said, coaches change. Like they'll put up a front. They might love you when you get recruited, and then you have to work your butt off to be on the field or whatever. But if you love the school, love the people that are getting recruited with, then you'll love where you're going. So make sure you actually love the atmosphere of the school.
It's kind of the whole point of this tonight would be sort of that, to understand it's hard, you do your best to figure out what, that define that school that you love. And they always say that, and it's so true, like don't pick the school based on the sport part. But, that's not being realistic, right? Certainly not on the Division I level. Look, at the end of the D1 search, unless you're the superstar, you might have 2 or 3 offers. So it's not like you're going to get picked from a whole bunch of schools. So you have to marry those two things. You got to figure out how to find the school that you love and that you can play lacrosse at. And it's not an easy thing to do. That's all the time we spent tonight. So, my job and Alex's job is to advocate for you through the process with college coaches, but also to be honest with them. So if we feel like you're not the right fit athletically or lacrosse wise, that you've reached too high, we have to be honest. And we also have to be honest if there are red flags and you are a kid that would come. And again, we're lucky to have good parents and good kids. But remember, too, that Alex and I have to give an honest assessment. So we want to have kids that come with energy and are coachable and smile and love the competition, too. It's what we're ideally looking for all the time, as any coach would. Are there any girls, any questions for and parents, anything at all? Okay, fair enough. We must have done an awesome job.
Hey, Coach.
Yep.
Hey, thanks so much for this. It's been really helpful. Just a quick question on video, like tape, like on the girls. Like, what's the best approach to like getting film of them? There's some expensive services out there, but to be honest, I have never used them before. Is it just a dad or mom on the sideline with a video camera? Is that your suggestion?
Well, that's a great question, Alan. I'm sorry. That's something I absolutely should have gone over. So perfect. Again, I appreciate any of you thinking any holes in there, any questions at all, because it'll just save me, because you'll have the same question as 6 other people, and then I'll get 7 emails. So Aldo, yes. So film has become super important now. So COVID, like it changed, like it accelerated so many trends. It accelerated the trend to film and video in women's lacrosse. I mean, men's lacrosse had always used film a little more. So film is important, and it's not easy to put together a good highlight reel, which should be no more than 3 minutes. I mean, 4 minutes top. Put your best stuff in there, 2 or 3 minutes. Now on Connect Lax, you'll see where girls will have, well, here's my highlights from the high school season. Here's my highlights from this summer. So you can build some video clips in there and show your growth, but you want to put your good stuff in there. And so to your question, Aldo, about how do you do it? I mean, old school parents would film. Today, I mean, every single tournament will be filmed by somebody professionally. Some of them, so Connect does a bunch of them. I'm looking into something. We may have some other options, but the best way to do it is to try to have somebody buy the video and split it amongst a bunch of parents. And so it's typically pretty easy to buy a package, and then you can download it, and then it can be shared. And how exactly we do that is a little clunky, but we can do it. So the way to do that is just email each other. So if you want to email the whole team, you can be logged in on the Extreme website on your account. And when you're on the roster page of your team, just click options in the top right and email team or something like that. And just say, hey, who's interested in splitting film from this tournament? And then usually some of them like give you a discounted price if you buy it before or at whatever. And then you're set. But here is the other issue with that, Aldo, is the quality varies a lot. Some of it's just too zoomed out. So if you want to get a camera and get on the sideline and take film, great. I mean, I know at Township, and I know almost all high schools now film and use Huddle. So I would suggest putting together, if you haven't already, obviously highlight clips from this high school season for sure. If you have enough film to do that. If not this summer, I would highly suggest, I mean, if you're thinking Division I at all, you need to put together some highlight clips as best you can. Division II and III, I would say helpful thing. Again, Alex can speak to this. I'll have Alex talk about what she thinks about film. But it's helpful. It's become somewhat necessary. Try to split the cost of the film stuff. If you're a person that likes to do it with video camera and edit themselves, then great. Otherwise, work with what you can get from the tournaments. And Alex, can you talk about film from a D3 perspective?
Yeah, I mean, film has become so important in all the divisions, especially because of COVID. And last summer, all the coaches lost that year for the most part, and seeing a lot of in-person, players for the tournaments. But, this year, like Mark said before, Division III isn't really focused on 23s, let alone 24s, but it is still, growing in popularity. So just like Mark said, splitting a package between a team, it's not going to be as expensive. You get to share it. You can cut it up and edit it on your own. It's not that hard. And then, depending on what kind of programming you have, you can try and zoom in a little bit. But just not only showing, like if you're an attacker or a midi, not only showing you shooting and then like just shooting, but the off play stuff, the hustle plays, riding, anything to make yourself look like that hustle player that's going to really be a competitor all over the field. But definitely film on all the levels.
Yeah, and variety is key. And I mean, Alex nailed it on the head, the hustle thing. I mean, same thing as them watching you. I mean, if you're an attacker, you better be hustling like crazy on the ride, because that's one of the number one things that they're going to look like always. Who's going hard on ground balls and who's hustling, and who wants it. So when you put your film together, like, your first 6 clips shouldn't be jab, left, go right, crank it into the top corner or something. I mean, you need to show a variety of things. And defenders, yeah, it gets harder to show, maybe somewhat harder. But same thing. I mean, you just have to have the hardest thing is you need a volume of film to get a good 3-minute highlight. So you all should coordinate and try to see what you can do to get the film packages.
Mark, I was just going to add, because I purchased a lot of film last season, actually last 2 seasons. If it's through Connect Lax, the easiest way to do it is to buy the package during the actual tournament, because it's a discounted rate. If you do it afterwards, you're going to pay more. What I did for our team is, because I've got 2 girls, so I would pay for it because I wanted it, and then I just shared it with everybody on the team. The tournaments that are filmed by Next Level Video, they're a little different because they don't let you download the whole game. You can only download clips, so you can't share those. So I would just say pay attention to what tournament you're at, who's filming. But the Connect Lax ones are the ones that were the easiest to just purchase for like $2.95 or something like that for all 4 games of a tournament, and then share for your whole team.
Thanks, Katrina. So absolutely, and there are different companies that do each tournament, and it's getting better, and the quality is getting better. I think there's even a free one. I'll give you the heads up on all that, but keep an eye on it. You'll figure it all out. Try to split the cost. It will help you a lot. I want to and if you have, we can, before we sign off here, if you have any more questions, cool. But I appreciate the girls' time. And unless you have a specific question for Skylar or Megan or Devin, I'm going to cut them loose. And thank you, girls. I really appreciate it. We good? All right. You 3 can check out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sky. See you next week, Sky. Okay, so are there any other? That's a good question. That's a good question. Film. It's become, again, like just like everything, like it takes work, and usually the kids are good at the editing part. It's not that hard to do anymore. It's pretty easy to do, and then you put it on your Connect Lax thing, and you've got your videos sitting there, and like everything else, it takes some work though. Any other questions? Not one question. Krista was the only one with a question from a player. Okay, fair enough. So odd doing these things when it's just me talking and I can't hear anybody. So again, I know it's been a crazy sort of start with the hot humid weather and so many people missing, and but we'll be off and running here, no problem. And this weekend, like I said, for the 23s for Saturday, it'll be fine. We'll have plenty of coverage. It's not the ideal way to start, obviously, but we'll be back at it on Sunday with full team. And for both teams, we've got 2 really solid teams, obviously. And one of the benefits, and I think one of the nice things about Extreme is that we do have a range where so, you can be loaded with all D1 players like the very, very elite clubs are. But then if you're at the bottom of that and there's a couple kids in 3, 4, 5, 6 that go and end up going D3, well, that's a little overweighted that way. So in terms of who's coming and watching. So we get a good range of coaches that come to our games and that are interested and know the name, certainly at this point for sure. And so I think the main thing for you all to do is, just keep working on your games. Like work on your games. You're not going to be good enough if you don't work outside of practices, and really, really try to expand what you do, right? Different release points, work on your footwork. If you really want to be good and you really want it, then you can't just say the words, you have to do the work. And then number 2 on the college side is get your big list, open mind. And then the path will show itself to you. So big list, open mind, contact them, express your interest, go out and play. Try to, when you play, so that for the 23s, last thing I'll say is, and 24s, remember when you get there, when the coaches are watching, and the parents too, it is a stressful process. So try to make it as least stressful as you can. So, we've had parents that would take kids to a clinic and they wouldn't tell the other parents because they didn't want those parents to take the other kids there like it's some competition or something. Breathe and try to keep an open mind and trust that if you do your due diligence, it will work out. And along the way, it will be stressful. And here's what will happen is, let's face it, Sarah, who's not here, Gauman, obviously we all know she's going to get a lot of early interest, right? So that's a different path. So don't make that make you feel bad. Who cares? Be excited for Sarah, the kids who get that early attention. Awesome. That doesn't mean you're a better person or worse person or whatever. Like, you need to find your path and your fit and find that school that you like, love the school, and can play lacrosse, and it can help to get you in. And like I said, when you come out the other side, you have the benefits of being a student athlete in college. Anything else to wrap it up, Alex?
Nope, just super excited to get started.
Woo! For sure. We're looking good. We got two really nice teams. The kids are awesome. The girls are, I think both these teams are solid, and they have a great time together. And so we're looking forward to Alex and I, and all the coaches are definitely looking forward to a summer of, where we can have team tents and share a little more time together and watch some good lacrosse. So with that, I would say sayonara and goodbye. And I've been on the field way too much this week. So I'm going to go to
That's
bed.
a good thing.
I guess. Okay. See y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. A lot. Take care.
Thanks.
See you, Alex.
See ya.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.